Fresnay, 16th of March 1420, Maine. Following Agincourt, the Armagnac and Burgundian factions at the French court attempted to unite against a common enemy. However, underlying tensions were still very much evident, and this came to a head in Paris in 1419, when the Duke of Burgundy was killed by the Dauphin's Armagnac followers. The new Duke, Philip the Good, sought an alliance with Henry V against his father's murderers. Henry was by now insisting on being recognized as the future King of France as heir to Charles VI, thereby disinheriting the Dauphin. Whilst this met with far from universal approval, the alternative, continuing war against the seemingly all-conquering English army, was even less appealing. The Burgundians also feared the consequences of the Dauphin becoming king. Negotiations continued for a number of months as Henry continued his advance, securing positions around Paris. The Dauphin was able to muster support in the south and east of France. He also looked to Scotland to provide troops to bolster his army. But his overall numbers remained low, and his army took some time to assemble for planned operations in Maine. A truce with Burgundy allowed Henry to dispatch forces to the area under Salisbury, who laid siege to the Scottish garrison town of Fresnay. Pre-battle, the French army, under the Count of Aumale, of about 2,000 men, mainly consisting of Breton mercenaries, attacked Salisbury in front of the town, whose garrison commander, Douglas of Drumlanrig, led out a sally into the English rear. Order of battle. The French have 16 battle morale points. Aumale is consisted of 3 men-at-arms, 2 good common troops, and 1 crossbow. The Scottish, who are garrison, have 6 battle morale points and Douglas as a commander, and have 2 men-at-arms. The English have 14 battle morale points and have Salisbury as a commander, with 4 men-at-arms and 2 veteran archers. As you can see here in the deployment, the archers have 3 resolve points, the men-at-arms have 4 resolve points. The same with the crossbowmen, they have 3 resolve points, and the good commons and men-at-arms have 4 resolve points, the same with Douglas, who has 4 resolve points. Historical outcome. The battle is not well documented, save to note that the English defeated both the French army and the Scots garrison. As they fled back towards Le Mans, the Franco-Scots were intercepted by a contingent of English troops arriving from Normandy to support Salisbury. There was a wholesale slaughter outside the gates of Le Mans, with a large part of the army killed and its leaders captured for ransom. The Treaty of ToR, by which Henry V became the heir of the French throne and in effect regent to the incapable Charles VI, was signed on the 21st of May 1420.
So now that we know the Battle of Fresnay, we know the background, we talked about pre-battle and the order of battle, we saw the deployment, and we know the result points and battle morale points for every army. Let's discuss about some scenario specifics. So the French are under headlong charge, that means they're subject to funneling, but the crossbowmen and the extreme flank you see there are well supplied. If we go to the English are in a defensive stance, not a defensive position, a defensive stance. If they move, they lose this defensive stance. The archers are well supplied. That means that if in a roll of a 1, you don't cancel all shooting, you just cannot shoot the next shooting card, and then you can resume again. So they're well supplied, but if they move, they will lose the defensive stance position. Now, if we go to the garrison, the Scottish garrison, inside the city gates, the Scottish garrison will have to draw 1 event card. I will use a blank card. The event card will immediately mean that they can sally out on a roll of 4+. This is a choice that the Scottish commander can take at any time. He may not want to sally forth, and then he can choose to stay and decide to sally forth at a later stage of the battle. Maybe the card will be drawn earlier and the French won't be able to have, any hand-to-hand combat with the English. Maybe he will make this choice depending on the situation of the battle. The English can only then react to the Scots' presence. They cannot react now. The English cannot now deploy some units protecting their flanks or rears, basically. They can react only when the Scottish the English player draws the sally forth card, the event card, and the Scots sally forth, successfully roll a 4+ and sally out. So we start with the French, who are in headlong charge. So we have the advantage of rolling 1d12 and do the movement before any card drawing. So let's roll. And we roll, they roll an 11, and that's very good. If they were mounted, they would have gained a +2 in this roll. So in 11, that means that the French will be able to close the distance quicker, and that would be a problem, obviously, because the English may shoot less. So we started the first move for the French, and immediately the French are funneling. They cannot move closer, mass infantry to defensive position of archers than 15 inches. So they will stop at this distance, and in the next move they will funnel in, they will funnel back, and they will create a second division, this unit of good commons. In the extreme flank here, the crossbowmen will have to stop at the standoff distance because they are not a melee troop. A standoff distance is 9 inches, so they can move again. They are currently at 10 inches. Then they won't be able to attack just shooting. They don't want to continue obviously going to melee. These are not melee troops. So we draw already the influence of the longbows starting taking effect against the French. The funneling had started, and the standoff distance of the crossbowmen, the archers have the same issue. So let's continue, and let's start now drawing cards and see what's gonna happen. Let's see when the Scottish are gonna sally out from the battlefield. So we draw a card, and we draw this card only for the French, and this is move and melee for one battle. So because we have one battle anyway, it's a good. The French are rolling well. Now this is really good for the French because they have the advantage. They rolled an 11 to move, so that's quite a substantial move distance. And at the same time, now they have the first card, and this is move and melee. And this, if they roll well, the English may not be able to shoot, and that's terrible for the English. This is what I like about the game, this unpredictability of events. So let's roll for the French. Remember, we have funneling here. They have the extreme flank of the French will have to create a second division subject to the die roll, and obviously the crossbowmen there are in a standoff distance. They will not move, or they will move a little. So let's see, and let's roll for the whole battle, and the whole battle rolls a 7, and that's quite good for the French, because let's see if the 7. No, they cannot attack again, but they move even closer to the English, and this 7 here is exactly here. So things are not looking very, very good for the English. The French are moving and have moved unhindered, and that's what I love about these rules. I love that you have all these specific rules for deployment, and then depending on the card drawing or the roll of the die, everything that is set up, historically accurate, can go wrong. And actually, at the moment, everything is going wrong for the English. So let's see the situation. The French start funneling in the procedure on the left in the next movement. They're very close to the English. The crossbowman on the extreme, on the north, you're seeing here, are stopped in a stand-off distance, and we don't have battle here obviously, but we have a drawing card. We finish this card and we have card drawing, and again only English, one card, otherwise the card drawing would have continued. And the English roll, let's remove it because I have the blank card. The blank card is an event card only for the French, and then we have the French who will. So let's draw for the French. It's 2 cards, so 2 cards will be drawn until the next English card, and the card is
Saint-Denis, and the scenario is going towards the French 100%. So what I'm going to do is with Saint-Denis you have a couple of options, you get modifiers. What I'm going to do with Saint-Denis is I'm going to use the crossbowman who will shoot with the +1 modifier. So the French crossbowman here will shoot at the English longbows with a +1 modifier, and let us see the distance. The distance is the standoff distance of 9. So the French don't get any negative modifiers for shooting. The crossbowmen have only aimed fire, so they don't get a negative modifiers. They're shooting against bowmen, so they haven't lost resolve points. They are not shooting, they're shooting against commons and bow, and that means they get a +1. So they get a +1 plus the one from Saint-Denis, they get a +2. So let's see, +2, they need, in order to succeed for aim fire, they need a 9+. So we're rolling for crossbowmen shooting at the archers, and they're all a 9 anyway, and +2, it's an 11, and immediately the crossbowmen score and remove 1 resolve point from the English archers. So the English archers will lose 1 resolve point and they will go to 2. That means that the battle morale will be reduced from 14 to 13. So first blood for the French. So we use Saint-Denis. I could have used it for other things. We have 3 options, but I decided to do this. And the next is secure commanders. We cannot do anything secure commanders because we haven't captured any commanders. This is a very critical card. And let's go to the next drawing of the cards. And this here is quite interesting. 1, 2, 3. 3 cards for the English. Let's see if the English can react here and just reduce the strength of the French. Secure commanders. Terrible card for the English at this stage. Nothing happens. And here we have move and melee, 1 battle. Now, should I move and melee? I'm in a defensive stance. I don't know. No, I'm not going to move or melee at the moment. I'm going to wait for the French to attack, because if I attack, they will lose the headlong charge because they're in hand-to-hand combat, and I won't be able to do some arrow storm and some crowding. Hopefully the next card for the English will be an arrow storm. And let's see, yes, move and melee and arrow storm. So some units will use it as move and melee, some an arrow storm, and obviously the English will use it as an arrow storm. So we're going to roll for arrow storm. In arrow storm, you're rolling for the whole battle. If one company of the battle is within range, then the whole battle is within range, and then you're rolling dice to see which unit is hit and which company is subject to arrow storm. Now the English are drawing, they need to hit with +9, and they haven't lost a resolve point. They're not shooting at mounted, and they are shooting, well, we have common troop here, so some rolls may hit some troops and some rolls may hit the others. So if you hit a common troop, and you won't be able to hit the man-at-arms because you get some positive modifiers against common troop, then only the common troop will be subject to arrow storm, but everybody will be subject to crowding. So I will get a +1 for the common troop. So let's roll and see. So the English are rolling for arrow storm, and they roll a 7 and 7. And if I was shooting at the common troops, I will get an 8. An 8 is not a hit in the arrow storm, so nothing happens in the arrow storm for the unit on the right flank. And let's go and see the units of, the company of archers on the left flank. And let's roll again for arrow storm. Let's see, the English will be more lucky. And they roll a 1, a terrible 1. Things are not going well for the English at all. So a 1 means, and let me put something there to remember it. I will put this wood here. A 1 means that the English won't be able to shoot the next turn. Their supplies are dwindling. They have to be resupplied. So next arrow storm, it's the English archers of the left flank are not going to be able to shoot. Things, okay, are not going well for the English, obviously. So let's draw cards again, and the French have only 1. I mean, the drawing of a card is going for the English, and this is aimed fire again and strengthen resolve. Now, we don't have any resolve losses for the French,
and we don't use this card, but we have the archers, the crossbowmen, who will shoot at the longermen again, trying to reduce their resolve point and reduce more resolve point for the English. And let's roll it here so you can see. And they rolled a one again, terrible for the Scottish, for the archers, that for the crossbowmen. That means that they will not be able to shoot in the next round. That the French will draw archers fire. Terrible for the French. Some bad luck here. Let's go again to the English. One card for the English again, and let's see if it's an arrow storm. Again, move and melee, arrow storm. Now, what I'm going to do probably is, if the arrow storm is successful, I'm going to charge with the English. I'm going to charge and try and create problems. I will see if the arrow storm is successful. Let's see if the arrow storm is successful for the English. So let's roll for an arrow storm and roll a 2, a terrible 2. But don't forget that unfortunately the other unit here, the other company of the English, cannot roll because they rolled a 1, so the supplies didn't get there for some reason. But now this is negated, and it's not valid anymore. So arrow storm unsuccessful. Move and melee. I will move and melee. I'm not going to wait for the French. I'm going to get the attack to them. We didn't do any funneling. We didn't do any crowding. We were not successful. The French attacked really well and really fast, but the English now I need to charge them. I need to reduce their strength, because if the card of the Scottish sailing 4th is drawn and the Scottish commander Douglas rolls 4+, then I'm in trouble. So I will be pinned. So I will charge. I need the English to be more proactive. So we're rolling for a charge, and let's see. Let me show it to you here. And we roll an 8, and obviously the English will charge and will be successful. So the English charge. We were all waiting for the arrow storm. Was not successful in general. It didn't go well, but the English couldn't wait, and Salisbury gave the order to charge against the French. So we have hand-to-hand combat, and it's decided to start. The English decide to start from here, where you have men-at-arms, English men-at-arms fighting men-at-arms fighting men-at-arms. So we'll start from here, the hand-to-hand combat. The English want to start from here, and let's see the modifiers. The English charge, so they will get a shock +1. They don't have a commander, we don't have anything, we don't have any resolve points lost, but what we have is that the French are outnumbering the English. They have the support from the good commons troop. Archers don't support, but the English are not isolated. You will get another negative modifier, but they are outnumbering, so they will get, when your opponent is outnumbering you, they get a +1, so the French will get a +1, the English will get a +1, so it's a straight roll, +1, +1. The yellow for the French, the black for the English, and we roll an 8 and a 9. That's really good. That means the English, as we said, charged, so they get a +1, and the French are outnumbering, so they get a +1 as well, is negated. So the difference is 0, and that means we have an ongoing melee. So the melee continues here. Hard fought melee, no resolve points lost. So we have here the same melee. Let's move. Here in the center, but here we don't have any outnumbering. There's no support, there's nobody pressing. So it's a straight roll, but the English will get a +1 because they are charging, they get the shock. No unit is isolated, obviously. So let's see, the French yellow, the English have the black. So let's roll, the French yellow, the English have the black, and let's see, and we have a 7-11, okay? That's good, a 7-11, so the English win by 4. And let's go and see what that means. There was a commander here, but you get a flesh wound to a commander or a natural 1 or a 12. So there's no wound to the commander. So winning by 4 means the losing company will lose 1 resolve point. So the French lose 1 resolve point, so they will go to 3. And let's reduce the battle morale 0.5. And they have to take a resolve test. And if they fail the turn tail, if the company is not doing it. So if they fail the turn tail, so let's do a resolve test and see what the French will do. Now, obviously, the commander in a resolve test is present, so they get a +1. They're man-at-arms, so there's no modifiers there, and they lost 1 RP point because of the fight, so they have a -1 +1, a 0. They have to roll 3 and above, the current resolve point number. So let's see. The French need to roll 3 and above to pass the resolve test, and they roll a 9 and they pass the resolve test. Now the losing unit has 2 options. Either they will fight again or they will turn tail to regroup. Now we have 3 resolve points. I don't think I will turn tail. I think I have a chance of fighting back the English. And let us see. We don't have the first round modifiers. And that means that obviously the English don't get the headlong charge, they don't get the shock, and we don't have any outnumber, we said, or any isolated units. So it's a straight roll. So let's roll. And we see, and we have a 4 for the English and a 9 for the French. And that's what I'm telling you, how things can turn around suddenly when you're fighting Test of Resolve. It's really a brilliant game. I'm really enjoying it. So the English lost by 5. And that means they have to take a resolve test. They have to remove 1 resolve point. So they will go again to 3. And they have to take a resolve test in order to see if they will turn tail. So the English, how much things turn around, have to take a resolve test. They don't have a commander, and their men at arms, they don't have any negative modifiers. The only negative modifier they have is the -1 resolve point. So they need to roll a 3. Basically, they need to roll a 4 in order to pass the resolve test. And let's see. So the English rolling, and they rolled a 5. Very lucky, and they passed the resolve test. And they have to make a decision now what they're going to do. And this can go on if they want to. 4 resolve points. We have 3 resolve points. I think the English will fight back. It's a brutal battle. A brutal battle. There is no modifiers here. There is no outnumbering. There is no isolation. It's just brutal hand-to-hand combat when somebody decides to retreat. And let's roll again. The French yellow, the English black, and the English roll a 3 and the French roll a 4. And there is victory for the French by 1. So we continue. This is an ongoing melee, and we go to the next melee. Now the next melee for the English is this, and it's again a straight hand-to-hand combat. I think both are good common. They are men at arms. So we don't have any negative modifiers. The good common troops have a -1 in hand-to-hand combat, but these are men at arms. Good common troops are here. So the English will roll again, and the French. And let's see, critical battle. And it's a 7 and a 4, a victory of 3 for the French, and that would mean that the English will lose 1 resolve point, and they will take a resolve test. So the French are pushing. So the English will take with a resolve point, they will lose, so they'll go to 3. So the battle morale point is reduced to 12 now, and they have to take a resolve test. And let us see what the resolve test. They have to roll above 3. They have a -1, obviously, for the resolve points they're lost, but they have the commander present here, attached, Salisbury. So it's a straight roll, and the English need a 3. And let's go and see. And the English roll a 6, and they pass, and they will fight back again. Yes, let's fight back again. The English make this decision, and it's 5 and 9. 5 and 6, and there is no resolve point loss when the difference is only 1. It's ongoing melee. And let's go to the last melee, and that would be quite interesting to see, because we have good common troops, and the English have their men at arms. So we have good common French against, common militia against the men at arms, and that means that the French will get a -1, because good commons get a -1 against men at arms. There is nothing more, no outnumbering, nothing else. It could be outnumbering, because no outnumbering there isn't. There is no isolated units though at the same time. So we have a straight roll. Let's roll and see. So we're rolling for melee, and the French have a -1. So they roll a 9, so they will go to 7, and the English roll a 10. So this would have been an ongoing melee, but because the -1 for the common troops, they will go to 8. A victory of 2 for the English, and that would mean that the French will lose a resolve point, and they will have to make a decision if they will fight again. So they will go to 3 resolve points, the French, and they will lose 1 more, so they will go, here will be 4. So we'll go to 16. Here. So the English, the French decide to fight again. They still have lost only 1 resolve point. And they have to take a resolve test, excuse me, I forgot. And let's take the resolve test for the French. Now the resolve test, as we said, they have a -1, so they get a -1, but they're common troops, so they will get good commons. No, good commons get a +0, so they get only a -1 for the resolve point they lost, and that means they have to roll 4 in order to pass the resolve test. And they roll a 3 and they fail. And let's see what the repercussions are. So the French fail and they turn tail. The common troops didn't manage to stand the English might, the English men-at-arms might. Let's roll and see how far away they will turn tail. And they roll 7 inches, they will turn tail 7 inches. Let us do the movement. So when you turn tail, if you lose more than 2 resolve points, you rout. But now they lost only 1, so they are turning tail. Now, you see how with turning tail and with the way the hand-to-hand combat is, you see how things are changing continuously in this hand-to-hand combat. Many units will turn tail in the next round to try to recover, hoping for a strengthened resolve card. In order to reorganize and attack back and get also the charge bonus, the impact bonus, the shock. So the French common troops are turning tail, and this is the end of our hand-to-hand combat. And let's draw cards. I can imagine if the English are not aggressive and we draw the event card and the Scottish manage to roll a 4+, they will be in big trouble. So that's good when we have aimed fire, so the crossbowman will shoot against the archers, and then we have a strengthened resolve card, so the French can try and increase the resolve of the men-at-arms of the commander here and of the unit that turned tail. But let's first do some aimed fire. Again, the distance it's a straight roll because the distance is within 15 inches, so it's not far away, but they're shooting at archers. So when you're shooting at archers, you get +1. So let's roll here in front of you so you can see the French are rolling. They aim 5, they need a 9 to hit, and they get a +1. So let's roll, and they roll an 8, but they get a +1. So they roll a 9, and that's fantastic because the English lose 1 more resolve point, and they will go, their battle morale points go to 5. The crossbowmen are doing an excellent job at the moment. So things are not looking good for the English at the moment. And now we're going to strengthen our resolve. Now these are a bit of tricky because if you fail with 1, you lose another resolve point. So in order to strengthen our resolve, I will try to strengthen the resolve of the men-at-arms of the commander and the good commons troops. I need to roll an 8+, but I get a minus for every resolve point I lost. And if I'm isolated, neither of the units is isolated. It's very important to have support. It's very important to have support within your units because many tests play important role if you're isolated. So let's start with the men-at-arms here. So we are not isolated, and we have a commander present, so we get a +1. They are men-at-arms, so no +0, but they lost 1 resolve point, so the +1 is becoming -1. So it's a straight roll. So it's a 0 basically. So we need an 8+. So we're rolling for the men-at-arms. We roll a 10. A 10, that's good. So the man-at-arms, the commander, things are going very well for the French. It increases the resolve points again to 4. That's terrible for the English. Now, the battle morale point doesn't change, but this changes. Now let's roll for the common troops. Now the common troops have a negative modifier because they have, now they're good common, so they don't get a +1. They're not isolated, but they have 1 resolve point lost, so they need to roll a 9 in order to pass. And they roll a 1, a terrible 1. When you roll a 1, you lose another resolve point and take another resolve test. So a disaster for the common troops who tried to increase their resolve. They failed miserably without a commander there. They reduced to 2, and that they have to take a resolve test. And that would mean if they fail the resolve test, they will rout because they lost already 2 resolve points. So we take a resolve test. They're not isolated. They're good common troops, but they have lost RP. So 2 resolve points lost. So they need to roll a 4. They have 2 resolve points. They need to roll plus the resolve points, so that means they're in the 4. And they need a 6, and they pass. And a 9, excuse me, and they pass. Very, very lucky. So you see the mess is happening here. We have the good common troops routing from the English men-at-arms. They're turning tail. They manage to pass the resolve test, and now they're trying to strengthen the resolve, failing with 1 and losing another resolve point. And that I have to reduce this one also to 3. But the men-at-arms of the commander, with his commander presence and the +1 given to them, they manage to strengthen the resolve and recover 1 resolve point. So we continue with the next 3 cards, and the 3 cards are for the English, and the English need something here because the event card hasn't appeared yet for the French, and I think the Scottish will be very dangerous very soon. St. George, and that is great advantage for the English because St. George will give them now in hand-to-hand combat, you can pick a troop and decide to give them a +2 modifier. So St. George, the banners of St. George are raising, and the English, seeing the good common troops fleeing, get advantage in this hand-to-hand combat. So the English drew the St. George card, so they can choose. They have option of shooting, they have option of movement, but obviously in this specific case, they will choose a company in existing melee to get a +2. The St. George banner is raised. The English are now in blood mode. So what we're going to do is going to give a +2 modifier in the first round. So I will choose, these guys have support, so I will choose these here with the captain. And let's roll for hand-to-hand combat. Let's see first the modifiers. They're very simple modifiers. Now, hand-to-hand combat commanders don't play important role. We don't have any charging, and we don't have any, we have outnumbering. Now this is the case here, wait. So here we have outnumbering. The English outnumber the French in this battle. They are not isolated, but no, they're not outnumbering, sorry. We don't have outnumbering, no. So, although we have an extra unit here, it's not participating in the battle, it's not pressing, it's not supporting, so we cannot have outnumbering, and the French are not isolated, so no, it's fine. So what we have men-at-arms fighting, so there's no modifier. We have resolve losses only from the English, so the English fight -1, so they will get a +2 -1, so basically they will get a +1. And let's see how this will be resolved. So the English roll the black, the French roll the yellow, and we have a 7 +1 and 8 and a 3. 8-3, and that is a substantial victory of 5. So the English win by 5. That means that the French will lose 1 resolve point, so they will go to 3. And that, we don't have any 12s, 11s though. And they have to take a resolve test. And now the resolve test, there's no commander here, so they are men-at-arms, so they don't get a negative modifier for the type of unit. They have lost 1 resolve point, so they get a -1. And they're not isolated, as we can see here, there's supports everywhere, so they have a -1, and they need to roll above 3, so they need to 4. So we're rolling for the resolve test of the French, and they roll a 4 exact, and they pass. And now they have the option of attacking back or turning tail. Now for the French is risky. I mean, we have another 3 English cards before the first French, and this is only 1. The French have advantage in the end. I mean, I shouldn't say this. And I don't see the Scots card, the event card, coming up. So should I turn tail a bit and try to reorganize? No, let's fight one more battle. I feel the French feel confident. So we don't have any modifiers here. Because they're 2 men-at-arms fighting each other. We have -1 for 1 resolve point that each one lost. We don't have any shock or any uphill modifiers, and we don't have isolated units. So let's see, and we don't have supports. So straight rolls, and we roll a 6 and an 8. Another victory for the English for 2. If it was a 6 and a 7, it would have been continued melee. So the English continue winning, and this would mean that the English will, the French will lose another resolve point, so they will go to 2. I forgot to remove the French resolve here, battle morale point. And they lost another resolve point, and they go to 2, and they have to take a resolve test. So the resolve test, as you can see, we have men-at-arms, who have no negative modifiers. We don't have a commander, so they don't get a +1. but they lost a resolve point. They're not isolated, as you can see, but they lost a resolve point. They lost 2 resolve points, so they have a -2. They need to roll above their current resolve number, that is 2, so they need a 4. So let's see for the French the resolve test. And they roll an 8 and they pass the resolve test. So the French are holding on and they have an option now, but I think now it's time for the French to turn tail and leave. They have the option of continuing melee. They lost 2 resolve points, the English lost 3. It's a bit risky. They can turn tail and create a line of battle with, let's see, the militia, and they can create a line of battle here with the militia and probably be able to recover, unless the English, of course, have another move and melee card and they can attack them in the flanks, in the rear. That's another difficult decision to be made, but I need to turn tail right now. And let's roll it in front of you, and we roll a 5, so we turn tail 5 inches. So the French turn tail and they return back 5 inches, and we have to draw the next English card. The English have the advantage now. It's urgent for the Scottish garrison to come out. So here is the situation currently. The St. George card was very helpful to the English. Still the garrison hasn't appeared, and this is aimed fire and arrow storm. Now, aimed fire, obviously the English cannot shoot at the unit that is under melee, but maybe they can shoot at this unit that is supporting but is not in contact, so it's still a target. Let's see if we can. And I don't think we can because it's basically blocked. This is 90-degree angle that you can check. No, it's blocked, so we cannot. So these English don't have any shooting to do, but they can strengthen the resolve of the English men-at-arms. But these English can shoot, and what they're going to shoot at, I am going to shoot at the turned around militia. So what are the English archers going to shoot? They're going to shoot at the turned around militia. They're equal distant from them. Yes, they are 10 inches, so that means they're not going to get any major negative modifiers for 10 inches. They get only, it's 10 to 15, so they get, well, it's, let's see again, because this is critical. Is it 10? No, it's less, it's 9.5, so they don't get a negative modifier. They're shooting at militia, common troops, so they get a +1. And it's a flank or rear shooting. So if you're shooting in flank or rear, you get a +1, so it's a +2. So that's quite good. And yeah, that's fine. So it's +2. The English roll with a +2. And let's see what's going to happen. So the English roll a +2. They are shooting arrow storm. Obviously they cannot shoot, obviously it's an aimed fire, because arrow storm, these are not eligible, they're not in headlong charge anymore, but it's similar. Aimed fire, and we roll a 10. Aimed fire at 10, so we give 1 resolve point reduce from the opponent. So the 1 resolve point, another resolve point reduce from the French by the English archers, who are doing an excellent job at the moment. And let's try and strengthen the resolve of the of actually 3 units. And this will be critical to change how things are at the back currently, and I'll explain you what I mean. So the English have this unit here, you cannot see it very clear, men-at-arms 3, another unit of men-at-arms 3, and they have 1. So we'll try to strengthen the resolve of all 3 units. They can give a great boost to the English, who currently have the upper hand, obviously, but the Scots haven't appeared yet. So for the resolve test, as we said, we need to roll plus or same with the resolve points, the existing resolve points. So I'll give you an example. For both men-at-arms, we have 3, but these men-at-arms here, the English men-at-arms, have a commander. So you have a commander, so they get a +1. They're men-at-arms, so for this type, they don't get anything, and they lost 1 resolve point. So +1, -1, they are 0. They're not isolated, so they have a straight roll. So let's see for the English men-at-arms, a straight roll, and they roll a 7, and they don't manage. They need to roll above 8. Now we go to the other unit of English men-at-arms, that they have -1 resolve point. They have all the modifiers, they're not many, of the other unit, but they don't have the +1, so only -1. They're not isolated, so they have a -1, so they need basically a 9 to pass. Ooh, and they roll a 9,
and they pass. And that means they strengthen the resolve and they will go back to 4. We don't recover battle morale points. We cover only resolve points. And now let's go to the English archers, and that's a bit different. Now the English archers are veteran archers, so they don't get a -1 that the normal archers have. They are isolated. No, they're not. They are within 2 inches of the foot, and they lost 2 resolve points, so they get a -2. So they don't have the commander attacked, and they have a -2. So they need to pass an 8, so they need a 10. It's quite difficult for the English archers, but if they manage to recover a resolve point, they will go great. And they roll a 10. And things are looking better for the English. They go to 2. So this card helped a lot. Now let's go. The English have the upper hand, the advantage, melee, move and melee, and arrow storm. Arrow storm we cannot because there's nobody in headlong charge, and the only one unit that can shoot, because this unit's vision is blocked, as you can see. They cannot shoot, and these units are still in hand-to-hand combat, but this unit can shoot, and maybe we can finish the French militia because we have positive modifiers. Let's say again, it's less than 9, so we don't have a negative modifier for distance. We're shooting in the flank or rear, so we get a +1. And we're shooting against common troops, another +1, so we get a +2. And in the end fire, we need a 9. So basically a 7. The English need a 7. Let's see, maybe the English will be able to finish this. And they roll a 3, terrible 3, and they fail. So let's go back and do our move and melee. We're not going to move anybody unless, no, I don't want to move anybody. I don't move the archers. I will explain to you why. And move and melee. Okay, no, I may move to finish them. Yes, I will move these knights here to attack. They have 1 resolve point. They will attack him in the rear. They will destroy them for sure if they manage to move enough distance. So let's roll to see if the distance for the English, and they roll a 6. Let's see if the English are gonna be able to charge the fleeing French at the back, and it's a 7. It's a 7, so they move, but they cannot charge their opponents. It's impossible. So what about this unit? Should I use it to charge the fleeing French men-at-arms? Let's see what's the distance here. The variable distance is killing 8. Let's give it a shot. Let's see if we can roll. And roll a 5, and we don't succeed. But we will move them anyway. I want to move them further away from the Scots. So this is the movement of English. They tried to charge the French who turned tail, but they didn't manage. So we have hand-to-hand combat here, and let's see. We have the English who don't have any modifiers. They don't have any negative modifiers. They have full resolve points. The French the same, but they have supports. The French are supported. So yeah. So we have there was a mistake at the first battle, because this unit has a move. You need to touch your opponent to be pressing him in order to get the outnumbering, the support. So currently this support helps not being isolated, but not helps for support. So it's just a straight roll. We don't have anything here. Just straight roll. Let me roll it here. Let's not move the camera. And we have an 8 for the French and a 7 for the English. Ongoing melee. Nothing happens. Let's go here. It's the same situation. No supports, nothing. No isolation. And both men-at-arms. Let's roll here. And we have a 12 for the French and a 7 for the English. Now, if the French, now this is very, I love these rules because of their, unpredictability. So this 12, if a commander was attached, the English would have had to, the commander would be captured, but he's not captured. So we have 7 and 12, there's no other result points were all intact. So we have 5 points difference. And as per the result, 5 points will mean that the English will lose 1 result point, so they will go to 3, and that means I have to reduce also. So I will do reduce to 4, and they have to take a resolve test. And let's see the resolve test. The resolve test, they have -1 resolve point,
They're men at arms, they don't get modified, they're not isolated, but they have one resolve point loss, so they have a -1. So -1, they need a 4 in order to pass. Let's see. You need to roll the existing equal or more of your current resolve points. So the English need a 4, and they roll a 5, and they pass, and they have an option what to do. And we're gonna fight again. Let's see if the dice will help us. We have a -1 modifier for the resolves, but this is the only modifier we have. So the English with -1, the French with normal dice, and we have a 9 for the English and 11 for the French, and things are not looking good for the English. So it's basically 8 for the English, and the -3, another resolve point loss for the English, and they go to 2. And things are not looking good. Here the French are very, very strong. Here in the center, the French are very, very strong, and the English have to take a resolve test. There's no commander appearing, but we have -2. They're not isolated, but we have a -2 resolve points. So we have 2 and -2, so we need a 4. So the English need 4 in order to pass the resolve test. And they roll a 1. A 1 is a disaster for the English. A natural roll of 1, it's a fail. And when you fail the resolve test, you have the repercussions, and let me tell you what's happening. So if a company has lost 1 resolve point and fails the resolve test, it turns tail. But if a company has lost 2 or more, it routs. So the English center is routing. They lost the resolve, they failed the resolve test, and they're routing, and they're out. Another 2 resolve points will be lost. The things are not looking good for the English, not at all. Not at all. The center is routing. And when a unit routes, the winner can make, you see the balance, what's happening here. You see how different situations occur. The English are winning on the left flank. On the right flank, the English are under pressure. Things are looking really, really interesting. Well, let's move the arrow storm, and let's do the free movement that the winner has to then do. So things are not looking good for the English. They have 7 now battle morale points. The French have 11 still. So still very strong, because we have also the Scottish. And now the next deck, the English are lacking the draw in a bit. They were unlucky in the beginning. End turn means that when the English end turn, we'll have to reshuffle the cards. So now we have English movement and his archers, arrow storm, so fire basically, and strengthen resolve. Let's see if we can strengthen the resolve of the English, although this is a double-edged knife. So archers will fire. I will fire with the archers, with the crossbowman against the crossbowman. The crossbowmen are at 9 inches, if I'm not mistaken yet. No, they are, yes, at 10. They're below 10, so the English won't get a negative modifier for shooting at the crossbowman. Let's go closer. So the English archers will shoot at the French crossbowman. They don't have any negative modifiers, they're just shooting at bow, so they get a +1. They have resolve points lost. They have 1 resolve point lost, the English, because they recovered 1. They were at 1, so they're at 2 now, so they have 1. So +1 or -1 is 0. The distance is below 10, so they don't have any negative modifier. So let's roll. I'll roll here in front of you so you can see. No, actually, let me take it. Let's roll. We need, in order to hit, we need a 9+. So +1, -1, nothing, a straight roll, and the English roll an 11. And 11 means 1 resolve point will be removed from the French crossbowman. So the French crossbowman will go at 2 resolve points. The English longbows are doing slowly but steadily, and the French battle morale points will go to 12. Now we don't have arrow storm, but we have strength and resolve, and here is where a lot of work has to be done for the English. So we're rolling for strength and resolve of the English. Now the men-at-arms have a commander, so they get a +1. As per type of unit, they don't get any modifiers. They're not isolated, but they have a resolve point loss, so they have -1, +1. So they need to roll an 8, a straight 8. And let's see, and they roll a 1. Oh God, for the English, things are getting worse and worse. And they have to take a resolve test by rolling a 1. This is a disaster. They lose 1 resolve point, so they go to 2. God help us. And they go to 2. I mean, this black die is really, really bad. And now they failed with 1, and so they have to take a resolve test. Let me strengthen resolve of these guys.
before we check the resolve test of the English. So that means that they are veteran archers, so as veteran archers they don't get a negative modifier, but they lost 1 resolve point, so they get only a -1. So let's see, a -1, and they roll a 4 and they fail, they needed a 9. So now the English need to take a resolve test. And let's see, they need to take a resolve test. They have a commander, so they get a +1, but they have -2 resolve points, so they are at -1. Again, they're not isolated or anything, but they have a -1 and they need basically a 2, so they need a 3. Let's roll here so you can see they need a 3 and they roll a 10 and they pass. Lucky English. So the strength and resolve was a complete failure for the English, and the shooting was a little bit better. And let's draw another card. So now the next card drawn is for the French, and let's see what the French will do. And move and melee. So what we're gonna do, I want you to strengthen and resolve these guys, but what we'll do, let's roll first of all for the division, and let's see. We roll here and roll a 10, so it's quite substantial. So the problem is that now with this guy 10, he has not contacted an enemy and he's not pressing, so he is still in headlong charge. So he was eligible for arrow storm, but we didn't have a line of sight. So by rolling a 10, he's pressing, he's gonna give the extra modifier, but they are subject to crowding, because if you touch the front ranks, if you contact the front ranks of your unit with a spare movement of more than 1 inch, you're pressing, you're becoming support, but you need to take a crowding test. So now we have to take a crowding test for this unit that is pressed, and then we continue the remaining movement. And that's unit hasn't lost 1 resolve point in the last battle. These units are really fighting hard, but they're equal man at arms. So we need to roll for a crowding. So crowding is simple. The English die and the French die face off. The winner is, if the English win, there is crowding. If the French win, there's no crowding. So we have an 11 for the French and 9 for the English. So no crowding. Lucky French. In order to give you an example, if it was a crowding, that means it's been crowded and they will lose 1 resolve point. So now we have movement for the French that was 11, so they have plenty of movement to turn around. So they will turn around to avoid the lucky, to avoid being charged in the flank. They haven't strengthened the resolve yet. They haven't drawn any. So this is 3 inches. And the question is, should they charge? Well, they can charge because I can see that English have 2 as well. So why not give it a shot? So the French men-at-arms charged, the English, the militia didn't. They have only 1 resolve point, are the fighting men-at-arms. They want to save, maybe they can get a strength of resolve in the next. And now we have melee, and let's fight this melee first. The French get a +1 for charging, but the English have also a +1 for the commander. The units are men-at-arms, there's nothing, and they have the same resolve point reduction. So +1 -2 is +1, and +1 -2 is +1, so both have +1 modifiers. There is nothing else, they're not isolated. There is no outnumbering because both are within support range. So let's roll with -1s. So we're rolling for the battle, and we're rolling an 8 for the French and a 2 for the English, and it's a disaster for the English. Salisbury is not doing really well, and 6 to 9 they lose 2 resolve points, and that means the English are routed. 2 resolve points, they're out, and they go to 4, and they are routed. Things are looking really bad for the English, and the Scots really haven't moved yet. The commander is captured, and another 2 resolve points the commanders will be given. So the English will go to 2 battle morale points. Obviously, these 2 resolve points that I will put here, these battle morale points, can be gained back by the English if they fight hand-to-hand combat and they win. So the English, nice banners here, there's all the nice banners here. So the English are out. So we continue with the other hand-to-hand combat, and it's here. The French avoided the pressing, they avoided the crowding,
and they're attacking, they get outnumbering, so per outnumbering they get a +1, so they get a +1 modifier. None of the units have negative modifiers, there's no charging, so +1 for the French. So we have 7 for the English, 10 for the French, 11. 11 would have meant that we would have captured the commander, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 11. No, 12. So 11 and 7. Oh, that's bad for the English. So there's 4 differences. The difference is 4, so the English will lose 1 resolve point. They will go to 3. It's a nightmare. So this will go to 1. Battle morale points. And they will have to take a resolve test. A resolve test, they are men-at-arms. They have -1 modifier. They're not isolated. So they will get a -1 +1. They get a -1 only. And they need to pass 3. So they need a 4. So let's roll and see if the English will roll a 4. So English rolling, they need a 4. And they roll a 2. And they fail. They fail, so they turn tail. That means they're not broken because they have lost only 1 resolve point. If they lost 2, they would have been broken, so they turn tail. So let's roll to see the turn tail of the English. And it's what is this? A 2. So they roll and they go 2 inches back. Things are looking very, very bad for the English. So let's recap. Things are looking very bad for the English. Very, very bad. Bedford is captured. One unit of man-at-arms is routed. The other unit of man-at-arms is turning tail. The Scottish haven't appeared yet on the battlefield. Things are looking really, really bad for the English, and we have 1 English turn, and this is aim fire. So we can shoot now and strengthen resolve. Let's see if this card could be critical. So aim fire, the English will shoot at the crossbowman here, and the English will shoot at this man-at-arms here. It's quite a good position. Maybe they will weaken them, and then we're going to try to strengthen the resolve of the man-at-arms and the English longbowman here on the extreme flanks. And the next, now, where it's critical is because the next turn card, it's 3 French, and it could be the Scots here. So we continue a battle that is getting very one-sided. I think the English are annihilated at the moment, well, in a difficult situation. So we have shooting, and let's see the distance. Obviously, it's closer than 10 to 15, and the English archers are shooting at the French, who are not in headlock charge anymore, and that's mean that they need only aim fire. They haven't lost the resolve points. They're shooting at men-at-arms, so no negative modifiers. It's just a straight roll. They're not shooting with flank or rear, so it's a straight roll. And let's see it. Let's see the straight roll of the English. They need a 9+ to successfully hit the French. So the English are rolling, and they roll a 5, and they do not succeed. The same will do here for the English shooting at the crossbowman. They cannot shoot at anybody else. The line of sight is blocked. The distance is not 15, so we don't get negative modifiers. But because we're shooting at bows, we'll get a +1 modifier. And they need, so they can roll an 8 in order to win. They have 1 resolve point loss, so they have 0 modifiers. But they're switching at bows, yes. Okay, so 0 modifiers for the English, a straight 9 required. Oops. And they roll, it's out, but let's give it to the English. And they roll an 11. If there was a commander, he will have a flesh wound, or no, only with a 12. So an 11, that means that 2 resolve points will be reduced. 1 resolve point will be reduced from the crossbowman, and crossbowmen haven't shot since they rolled a 1. So the next shooting they will remove this is for me to remind me. So things, we have to remove a resolve point from battle morale point. We have to remove a battle morale point from the French, so they will go at 9. Don't forget the English can gain back these 2 battle morale points if they manage to recapture the commander, but currently they have only 1. That's why I'm saying things are looking very bad. Now we have strengthen and resolve. And strengthen and resolve, we have only 2 units that need to strengthen the resolve. One is this specific one of men-at-arms that has 3 resolve points, and let's try to strengthen resolve. Let's hope that we're not going to roll a 1 again. So they have only -1 because of the resolve point. They're not isolated. As you can see, the English are within support range, the English longbowmen. Although they cannot support, they are within support range, so they're not isolated. So they have only a -1 because they lost 1 resolve point. So they need an 8+ to pass, so they need a 9. So let's roll and see. and they roll a 7 and they don't succeed. Let's do the same for the archers. As you can see, the archers there have lost one resolve point, so they have a -1, but they're isolated. They're not within any support. So because they're isolated, they get also a -1. So -1, -2, so we have -2. Now, because they're veteran archers, they don't get any other modifiers. If they were not veteran archers, they would get. So they have a -2, so they need a 10 to pass. So they need a 10, and they're all 6, and they don't pass. So the strength and resolve card of the English didn't do much. And we have to draw for the French, and let's draw for the French. And let's see here, close. And we have move and melee. And let's see. And now there's a great opportunity for the French to finish everything, to move and attack the English in the back, remove another battle morale point. The English cannot turn. So the French would probably need to roll. We don't have the bonus of the mounted. They need to roll a 5. So let's see, let's roll here in front of you. And they roll a 9. And that means that they will attack the English in the rear, excuse me. But with the supports, these units haven't lost one resolve point, I think. That's cool. And 9, what the other commander would do though, this guy, what he would do, can he, I have an idea. I will turn him around because it's a 9, he needs a 3 for a pivot. And he then remaining, it's 6. Obviously, he attacks the English in the flanks. That's just a disaster for the English. We're not going to move. We're not going to move this unit here, but I'm going to charge regardless with even the. I'm going to make it a secondary unit, a pressing unit, a supporting unit, because I can choose the. In this melee, I can choose which will be the main units fighting. So I will choose obviously the flank attack as a main, and he will be the supporting, the good common troops. So they'll attack here in the front. And I think things are looking very, very bad for the English. Which one we should do first? Let's do this one. So let's go here and do this move and melee. So the English are being attacked in the flank, in the rear. And let's see the modifiers. Obviously, they have support. The French, so per numbering +1, so the French have the +1. They haven't lost any resolve points. They get the shock, so another +1, so the French have a +2. Let me put it here to remember. The English have lost 1 resolve point, so they have a -1, and they have, what else? They are attacked on the flank array, another -1, so the English have a -2. Both are men at arms, nothing happens. So -2 +2, that's a critical one. +2 for the French, -2 for the English. So let's see, this is a critical. And it's a 7 and a 4. A 7 that goes 9 and a 4 that becomes 2. 9 and a 2, a difference of 7. And that's a major, major blow to the English here. And let's see what's happening. So we have the French charging in the back, they win by 7, and that means that the English lose 2 resolve points, and they will go to 1, and the battle morale points goes to 0, and that means we have to take a battle morale test first in order before we take a resolve test. So we have to take a battle morale test. When you lose 1 resolve point more from 0, you have to take a resolve test. I'll take a battle morale test. We need 8+ to pass for the battle morale. The commander is captured, so we don't have a commander. So we have a -2, plus a -1, because it's for the battle morale test. So we have a -3, and we need to roll an 8+. The most critical roll for the English, a battle morale test. The French are sweeping the floor with them, and the Scottish haven't appeared yet. So let's see again, the English need 11 and need 8+ to pass, but there is no commander, it's captured, and there's a -1 standard, so they need an 11. And I think I have to say that the battle is over. And the English roll a 4, and they break. And the English army breaks, a disaster for the English. It was great, great victory for the French. Let's see. Aumale, the commander, didn't need the support of Douglas from the city of Fresnay, who didn't even start the battle at all. And he destroyed the English, capturing Salisbury. The war has changed. We changed history here. So guys, let's go back and have a recap. What will be the next card? Empire for the French. Where is the card? Ah, here. After the Scots were coming in the next card. In the next two cards. So what happened here? The problem here is the major disadvantage of the English was cancelled. The arrow storm that could have weakened the French quite substantially, delay them, was cancelled. Why? Because the French at the first, because the French being in headlong charge, rolled 11, a very high die, and they reached the English immediately, very fast. The English didn't have time. If the French rolled a 2, and until the French card appeared, because the English had the advantage of the card drawing, French cards appeared after a quite substantial number of English cards. So if they, and quite of a lot of arrow storms. So if the English could and would have this ability to shoot arrow storms and take advantage of French crowding and reducing and pressing and reducing their resolve points, they would have had a good chance of winning the battle when the French reach. You know, when you reach with the lower resolve point, you obviously get a -1, a -2. It's quite a substantial modifier against troops that are fresh. But the French arrived fresh, attack fresh, and this where it happened. The English archers did good job, but the aimed fire didn't do much. They tried once, but they couldn't do much. I mean, they reduced the crossbows, but they couldn't do much more. The French were lucky because the division that funneled in and created a second rank pressed their comrades in the front, but they won the die roll, the face-off of dice, and there was no crowding. So in general, I think the English, the French moved fast, as they should have historically. Also, Salisbury is captured, Bedford was captured. We changed history here. And the English didn't have a chance. Imagine now also, if the Scots made an appearance with Douglas, it would have been a disaster. I mean, it's a disaster. So what we say about the game? I love the game. It's amazing. It is 100 Years' War, perfect. And you know me, I don't like games without pushbacks. You know how much I love pushbacks. I would have loved if this game had pushbacks, but it doesn't bother me. The turn tail creates the same feel of pushback. You saw before, the English were winning on their left flank. They were pushing the French behind. The French were winning on the right flank. There was a total mess on the battlefield, exactly what's happening with pushback. So turn tail does something very similar. I like all these rules that really play an important role regarding the deployment and how the deployment affects the battle. I really enjoyed it. I really like the D12s because regardless, they give some unpredictable results, but they don't make it crazy. It's really, really, I really like D12s. So a great battle, fun. Fresnay was saved by the French, by Count of Aumale, and Salisbury is captured. 1920, we French, we're changing history. So I'm thinking of making a campaign. I will use Test of Resolve rules. I think you will enjoy it, but this will come in the near future. Again, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the battle report. Bye. Have a great weekend or remaining week, depending when I'm going to post this. Bye-bye.